Hey kids, do you like professional wrestling? Well, we like professional wrestling too. I am Jeff Hawkins. He is Chris Novembrino. He is not in the bubble. I am in the bubble. We are on video again for the second week because we decided to keep doing this.
I have a
Chris is
music stand. Oh, that way. That way.
Chris is slightly hungover. Hey,
Yeah, I
let's not
am.
make any loud noises.
Loud noises. No,
The
yeah.
coffee is flowing. The Cuervo Gold, the fine Colombian, makes tonight a wonderful day.
The great part is I'm still slightly hungover at 4:30 p.m. the next
Yes,
day. Yeah. So it lets you
that's
know
what
how good
happens when you start getting older and you're not in college. You don't bounce back as quickly anymore, young Mr.
I
Reno.
had a scheduled week of vacation and I wanted to wrap up that vacation.
Some people have a lost weekend. Chris has a lost week when he's on vacation.
My friend was in town. We
Mm-hmm.
had a lovely time doing more adulty things like hiking on top of the mountain on Thursday. We went all the way out to the Kiwanis cabin, which is like the true summit of the mountain. Uh, and then on Friday, we wanted to rage. And so we raged. You know what's great though
Hey,
about
let's rage.
here's what's great about having a rager in your 30s. You're like focused on the downside. That's because you're the eternal pessimist. Everyone always says, "Dear sweet Novi's, ever the optimist." And I look at it like this. No, they do. They're always saying that. The liars in the media disregard them. Um, it, what's great about having a party in your 30s with friends who are in their 30s is they actually throw away their trash. Like today, I got up. There's like a handful of cigarette butts. There's like a Pabst Blue Ribbon on one table. I put the trash outside. Everyone saw the trash barrel, went to the trash barrel, put stuff in the trash barrel. This is not my 20s where like the next day I wake up and the whole place is trashed. I woke up today. I was like, oh, it's not total bedlam in here. I mean, I still need to do a little bit of cleaning, but like you gotta look at the bright side, Hawkins. You're always like, now that I'm in my 30s, I'm gonna be hungover a lot.
No, no, no. Let me state this. In my late 30s, I drank myself into a complete blackout and woke up in my car where it was towed somewhere. I don't. So you
No,
have those
I'm in my
moments.
late 30s.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're probably not trying to drink yourself to death like I was on that night, but no,
No, not this
things have
particular, not
improved,
this
people.
particular night.
I'm
No, no,
I'm
no.
I'm
My
I'm very open about my life, but this was even before Shake Them Ropes ever happened. So don't worry about me, kids. I am perfectly fine now. It was just one of those things.
and my
Uh,
headspace is good. Before the show, we talked. It's I gotta take a break until we get to Tram Fest next month here. So well,
oh
it's have to
yes,
break some things.
pace yourself for your wilding outs. Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, guys, as you get older, you can't rage every day. I mean, honestly though, like think
You
about it.
think you can though, because when you're in your 20s, you
Would
go,
you
man,
even want to?
when I'm a
Would
grown
you
up, I'm
even
gonna
want
rage
to?
every day.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to even
No,
if
you
you
don't.
could, because it would be after a while. Even that would get boring.
And as a
Raging is
matter of
fun.
fact, once you get to be older, you hate those types of people.
Oh, the party everyday types.
Oh
Oh god,
yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah.
no, yeah, no, they're
Grow
tough.
up, you morons.
Yeah, the Peter Pan types.
Or your friends who still want to do it occasionally. Do you still
Well,
have those who call you up? Hey, Chris, it's Wednesday, midnight. Want to go to the bar?
I don't get those, but like also once I'm asleep, I am done. Especially right now. If you're like, want to go to the bar? I'm like, dude, I have to be at the tram at like 6:30. Not a chance. Like there's not a chance in hell I'm going to the bar right now.
I had one of those jokes in my stand. If it's like, yeah, when you're 20 and you're passed out on somebody's lawn, it's cute. When you're 40 and you do it, they go, oh, how sad. How dare you judge me about
That's ageism. It's its own soft way like that.
exactly. That's what I
Once
said.
again, ageism rears
Ageism
its
has reared
ugly.
its ugly
We
head,
had yeah.
judging me for passing out on your lawn, even though I've been doing it for decades. Anyways, getting to the news. The TKO merger is complete. UFC and WWE under the Endeavor brand, so to speak. All one stock now. So your WWE stock has been turned into TKO stock, kids. And with that comes the bloodletting. Yes, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Administrative Officer Frank Riddick leaving WWE at the end of September. In addition, on Friday, about 100 employees let go, mostly in the front office. Mostly if you had executive vice president in your name, it was considered redundant. But yes, welcome to our new corporate overlords, Chris.
I don't like it's hard to say what this means for the overall television product of WWE.
Oh, well then allow me to follow up because I'm
Please.
so glad you said that. Also back, the big man making changes on Monday night this week. Good old
That's the bigger
Vince
deal.
McMahon. He was not live, but back from quote unquote surgery. He was at the stock market, shaking hands, kissing babies in a god awful looking purple suit. It was actually kind of fuchsia. Actually, it was this light purpley color. It's just it looked like he picked it up at like Hollywood men's suits out here. The 3 for $99 were like pimp suits from the 70s are on sale and stuff.
He picks the worst colors for his skin tone too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he has a real knack for picking very bad colors to bring out his skin. This is the bigger story. WWE, in terms of quality or whatever, the story remains the same, which is if Vince is doing the booking on WWE television, the show is a certain level of quality. And it's not going to ever be more than that. It is what it is. You know what the McMahon formula is. The only thing that changes is it gets older and worse.
Yes, he is the man that Ari Emanuel trusts to be the guiding hand of the new investment. So he will
But
be.
if it was someone else, to finish the thought here, if it was someone else, we have a sample of what that looks like, and Raw could potentially be a very interesting place.
Yes.
And even despite McMahon's reappearance on, as a controlling hand or whatever, in watching Raw and SmackDown this week, which I did almost in their entirety, was thinking about how the Judgment Day have really been elevated to like star level like talent. Jey Uso absolutely gets a star level reaction. They have actually done a nice job getting some other, LA Knight, obviously, getting some other fresh faces at like a star level, people who are really, really hot right now. And
This is a perfect segue, by the way, but keep going.
No, it's very interesting to consider what WWE could do if they didn't have McMahon still trying to do McMahon-y sort of booking patterns.
Yeah, he made some choices for Monday, and most of them actually made sense. To be honest with you, I mean, there are good things and bad things when what you get with McMahon, like the Jay and the Cody segments were reversed. They were originally going to have like Cody leading off the show, and it turned out to be Jey Uso instead. But this Elevation New Stars is very interesting. Given yesterday, guess who starts chirping again? Good old Dwayne The Rock Johnson is on Pat McAfee's show in Colorado. And it's talking about WrestleMania and how the plans were quote unquote set in stone for him to have been there for WrestleMania 39. But, plans change, blah, blah, blah. And of course, McAfee's in town for the Colorado State football game, and WWE is in, I believe, Denver or Boulder. I can't remember which one they're in.
It was Denver.
Probably Denver. For SmackDown, and Dwayne comes back. So we have both of our major ex-stars who have left for Hollywood while the actors and writers both strike. Oh, well, look, there's a playground there, and they're still doing live television. And so we get to come back a little bit. And so that has been making the waves that, well, maybe we're not finishing the story for Cody Rhodes come WrestleMania, that maybe there's a chance here that it's going to be Rock and Roman in Philadelphia, which is a very interesting city for old Rocky. Given, if you remember, he of the man who came out to raise Roman Reigns' hand after the Royal Rumble. in Philadelphia to massive boos. That was the year I believe they wanted Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble. The crowd did. That Cody may not be finishing the story at this next WrestleMania. That might be a main event of Roman versus Rock, and Cody gets bumped down to the Seth Rollins Consolation Prize World Title.
Well, if we go back to what John Paul Levesque said earlier this year, that this is a baseball game and we're only in the third inning. So if you start thinking about life in terms of baseball, next year it would be close to the sixth inning of life. And then the year after, that would be like the ninth inning. And Cody hits the home run. I like baseball.
Do you? I hate it.
Big fan.
Of course, Dwayne is telling tales out of school because he was not written in because they didn't think he was going to be available. So Dwayne is in the Dwayne business. Let's get that straight.
I mean, like real talk, I think The Rock doing WrestleMania is 50-50 at best.
Yeah.
If the writer strikes off, he's just going to go back to Hollywood.
The thing about Rock, and I respect the hell out of him, don't get me wrong, this snark here is just me being me. But there's a lot of similarities between him and Vince. In terms of Rock just doesn't want to be an actor in Hollywood. He wants to be a brand, and he wants to be respected as a brand. And so because there's nothing in production right now, and because he's had a couple of stumbles at the box office, the Rock brand isn't what it used to be. But look at this magical opportunity right now with everybody on strike. And what's the one thing that's in production right now? My good friend, professional wrestling. And I'm back. Both he and Cena, I have my skeptic glasses on because of course they're leaving right after the strikes are broken.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah,
and that's the plan, and I get that. But you're just kind of like, if you're sitting there and you're a current employee, while you're thankful that they're back for the eyeballs, at the same time, a little grumbliness probably from some people. I'll give you another piece of information that came out this week that's very interesting and very intriguing as to all this. The Beer City Bruiser, of all people, had a podcast. I forgot who he's interviewed by, but in this, he let go some information that, if true, very intriguing, that when Ring of Honor was put up for sale, yes, Tony Khan was the winning bidder. But the man who came in second was Cody Rhodes. I think that's probably one of the reasons he left. If that's true, he kind of wanted to make Ring of Honor his own fiefdom in his image, and Tony got it and probably told Cody, I have other plans for this. But
and a vision is surely being executed on Ring of Honor television. Everyone's talking about it. Like the plans are obvious.
Yes. Although I mean, they're doing right by one person on there right now, and the one person that's killing it on Ring of Honor to me is Athena.
Well, and here's the thing though. If you don't buy Ring of Honor, you can't sit in front of a Chicago audience and alternately stand up and tell them that you bought Ring of Honor while telling them that you fired CM Punk.
Okay, go through the steps of that.
It was a joke about how he was telling all of them during his little speech a few weeks ago, among other things, I bought Ring of Honor. He made a big, that was a thing he just sort of said angrily in the middle of that.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the live version. So
in the live version, he specifically brings up I purchased Ring of Honor. I forget the exact quote, but I just remember hearing that go okay, cool.
AEW per Andrew Zarian of Mat Men / Figure 4 / everything else. AEW's probably going to end up on Max, and their pay-per-views are probably expanding to 12. There's a discussion going on amongst those of us who are in the bubble, Chris, about whether or not this helps or hurts Tony's vision for booking. Because as you know, he tends to wait until the last minute he has the matches kind of set in his notebook, and then it's a week before the card. Oh, time to start building. Here we go. Does this, in your opinion, help or hurt him?
Probably help him because before you can do a 3 month story arc, you need to know how to write a 4 week story arc. And so maybe this would force some narrative focus on the writing side. In terms of as a business move, I gotta say, based on, I mean, I don't have all the numbers for everything up in front of me, and I'll be honest, I don't care that much. So a numeric rebuttal won't really have that much resonance with me. But like, from all the times we ever talk about the numbers for this show, it feels like they've been sort of stuck on a plateau for some time now of under 1 million viewers for Dynamite, rapidly under 500,000 viewers for all the satellite products like Collision and Rampage and all that stuff. They have the big show at Wembley Stadium, but that's one show that's in England, a place that does not get a ton of wrestling. And also, then you look at all the other shows that they seem to be doing right now where they're running arena wise and everything. And, you know, they're still in Garland, not the American Airlines Center. That's always been a telltale, like you know, just from being in Dallas. It's like it was convenient for me. But like
In Cincinnati, which is John Moxley, one of their stars' hometown, they used to really get bigger houses. They were set up for 2,800. They sold 2,500.
so then like that's the to me the issue of like, do you need 12 pay-per-view events? Can you not only can you sell revenue, or like can you generate revenue for those pay-per-view events 12 times a year, but also can you get the attendance to the live crowds? Right now, it doesn't seem like they only have certain cities where they can get these big houses.
Um,
Wait, and one of them Chicago, and that one's not necessarily yeah, right.
yeah.
I think that honestly, like now I'm thinking about it, that's one of the reasons why Tony Khan was like, oh, I need to go out here. Like AEW without the ability to run in Chicago, you know, somewhat fluidly, is sort of an incoherent brand.
They've run a lot in Florida, Texas, and
Yeah,
Chicago,
right,
admittedly.
right.
And they're starting to expand. They need to. I mean, I think they actually really need to go back to doing colleges again. Um, I think they've been trying to get to the secondary big arenas in bigger cities, and it's not working. But pay-per-views are a different animal for them because while they don't sell out immediately anymore, they are selling fairly decently. Like I believe the Forum out here in LA for Full Gear is set up for 7,500, and they've sold about 6,000. So that's not bad. 12 pay-per-views. I think the problem is it's like, well, we'll get good matches, but we can watch the good matches on TV. We don't know if anything major is going to happen because they don't do big angles necessarily. They don't do, once in a lifetime promos if you go out there and watch it, or once in a lifetime, okay, we're going to see something special here on this television show
Yeah,
week
no,
to week. So it's one of those things where I think, while the internet fandom loves them still, and they do well, overseas, and they do well on pay-per-view, the week-to-week television, and now with a second touring brand, sort of, might be too much.
it's hard to imagine it wouldn't be. You're just asking me earlier, would it help the? I think the opening actually was, would it help the writing, and I would say potentially that. But that's like the only positive thing I could see.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't look, 12 pay-per-views a year is not a guarantee that they're going to have tighter writing. I think from everything I have seen from AEW this year, whoever or whoever's has been handling the booking of AEW is having a hard time booking in quarter year patterns. And it would behoove them and help them, whoever they may be, to be operating in 3 to 4 week patterns rather than 3 to 4 month patterns.
I'm just
Again,
proud you use the word behoove, but continue.
yeah, no, whomever that person, yeah, whomever.
We are an educated show, people.
Oh
Don't
my
ever say
God.
otherwise.
I went to college and now I work at a tram.
I worked at a theme park. I mean, I went to college at one time, so yeah, no, I get it. Talent wise, Bryan Danielson announcing on TV that this is going to be his last year full time as he wants to watch his children grow. Chris, who would your dream match be for Bryan Danielson in this last year?
John Cena. No,
I don't think that's happening. I think
The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
If Nigel could be cleared for a UK show next year's All In, I would have Nigel and
okay, so real answer and dream match because it's not going to happen or anything. Kevin Owens. I'd love to see Danielson and Kevin Owens go at it one more time.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So
you said dream match.
Yeah, no, that's true. I did not give you guardrails. So
yeah. No, like
one last with Kane where they hug it out afterwards. Sure.
Oh God, that'd be so good. Finally has his match against the Undertaker.
Returning on television this week, Nia Jax at the end of this week's Raw. She the exception to the hiring freeze because that is a Vince pickup all the way. Also returning on Collision last Saturday, one Jade Cargill to reappear, and it appears that her last match with AEW was on this week's Rampage, a kind of a banger hoss fight with old Chris Statlander for the TBS title, in which Statlander retained. One of Chris Statlander's better AEW matches as well. If you haven't watched it yet, if Rampage is disposable as it is with me, that match is well worth your time. But it enters an interesting question because Jade Cargill has a team that does her negotiations for her, and she is repped by Endeavor, which owns WWE. Now, there's a lot of people who say, yes, WWE is the natural place for her, and that's the rumor where she is going. But here's what I was saying about today on my morning drive as I went to get groceries and gas, as I do on Saturday mornings, because nobody wakes up before 10 out here. WWE is in an interesting position for women's wrestling in terms of the wrestlers that they like. Bianca Belair is 34 and she wants to have a kid. So that clock's ticking. Rhea Ripley is their big woman now. And by big, I mean they're giant in terms of, they say if you have more than one giant, you have no giants type of a thing. So Jade Cargill's an interesting proposition. Now you need people to feed Charlotte because Charlotte's always going to be a star mostly because Michael Hayes is still one of the guys who's very, very influential in Vince's thinking. Camille is everybody says, oh, she'd be perfect for WWE, et cetera, et cetera. And she's going to be a free agent very, very soon. But again, you have Rhea, you have Bianca. Do they have room for Jade? And Jade wants a big money contract, and that's not the usual NXT deal. So she'd be getting a main roster deal. And if she's in the Performance Center, it's just basically learn the hard camera. Now, the good thing about going to WWE, if she decides to go there, is they will lock onto her personality. And she has it in spades. She is great. She is a great talker. She has a great presence. She has a great look. She is a great giant in some ways. When you make her do technical choreographed matches, a little bit lacking. Let's just say that right now, because she hasn't been doing it that long.
Yeah, so the question is, can she get from being the Ultimate Warrior to being LA Knight?
Yes, pretty much. Can she work the main event style in a WWE style?
Right. It's like LA Knight. You and I, big fans, always been big fans of the character work. Wrestling wise, he is just there.
He is there.
Ilya Dragunov, he is not.
No.
Yeah. But he's a great character. He's very over. He works the style in a completely inoffensive way. And the question is, can Cargill be coached up to do that? Maybe it's impossible.
Allow me to state this as well. Jade leaving AEW is a massive failure for AEW.
Oh yeah. No, you don't say. The aspirational title run I'm not saying you. I'm like you know, remember everyone told me like this is all going to end well. This is the end of the road. The Jade Cargill experiment was an absolute disaster for AEW.
Oh, okay. I was going a different direction.
Okay.
Jade's a star for them. If you watch pay-per-views, if you watch her reaction that she gets because she's playing babyface in pay-per-view, she doesn't play
They
babyface
had no
week to
idea
week.
how to use her.
Yes,
This is what I'm saying is a disaster. Is okay. They had no idea how to use her. Her title reign was not actually good television, and now she's leaving, and they need her more than she needs them.
that's where I'm getting at because she is a
Yeah.
homemade star, and this is a problem that AEW has with when I say big, I mean in size wrestlers. And I've noticed this now with her, with Wardlow, with Hobbs, with Miro, etc. Once you get past the initial monster push and they have to lose, they know how to do the Goldberg thing where you just win a lot. But once they lose, they have no idea what to do with these people. And so they send them off to cool down. Brian Cage was off TV for a year. And I think this is part of Tony being online where they put a Jade match on and then he might go to one of his old haunting places, like, you know, one of these message boards that says so and so can't work, and he believes them because they want the indie choreographed style, and Jade's not going to be that ever, and big guys aren't going to be that ever. They're not going to do lucha stuff necessarily unless you're Brian Cage. But you
And
know,
then is that good? Do
yeah,
you want that? Yeah.
and that's where WWE comes in and goes, oh, we know what to do with this. And if they turn her into a bigger star, which Jade wants to, but Jade wants to, I think, eventually go into movies. That is just good. That we took one of your homegrown talents and we just made them into a bigger star than you ever could, even though you pushed them to the moon. That's gonna drive the commentary at nuts, I think.
Oh yeah. Also, it'd be very funny because very soon a lot of them, I think, will start to realize all of the technical flaws and like actual gaps in Cargill's game that the same people didn't notice for the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, those can be covered up. I mean, that's the thing is
No,
you
no,
get,
I'm saying they'll be pointing them out now.
oh, they
Same
will. Oh
people,
yeah, look at her. She
the
didn't
same
do
people, the same people who didn't notice them for the last 2 years now suddenly will
okay.
notice them. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I think they always noticed them. It's just one of those weird things where it's like,
Well, no,
you
it's
know,
it's are you keeping it real?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Some quick hits here, and we'll see if anything tickles your fancy here before we get to the Lazy River. Dave Brown, legendary Memphis commentator, set to commentate on Collision when they're in Memphis on October 21st. WWE allowing Elias's contract to run out. He is no longer with the promotion. QT Marshall, short range extension to the end of 2023. Prince Nana has re-signed with AEW. I don't know if I brought this up last week, by the way. Yes, do the Nana dance. Sonny Kiss was not re-signed by AEW and allowed to leave. And Adam Copeland, aka Edge, temporarily removed from the WWE website. And then when it was pointed out that he was removed from the WWE website, a couple hours later, he just magically reappeared on said website. Any of those stories merit your consideration?
Don't think you can do much with Elias outside WWE. I think they squeezed all the juice out of that lemon you possibly could.
You know what's funny is I thought he could have been much, much bigger because he
I
was
agree.
getting so over.
Oh, I agree.
And,
They never
wrestling...
never really pushed him as a babyface the way they could have.
Yes, and that whole multiple people from his family he was playing was a great story.
Oh.
And no, let's just say this: Elias, not anything major to write home about in the ring. Okay, I will say that. But the fact that like Dave would say, Uncle Dave would come out and go, you know, once he stops doing the promo stuff, you know, he's kind of useless type of thing. I go, I don't believe that because you don't have to be a good wrestler. You just have to get over with the fans.
We are all talking about LA Knight right now.
Yes.
They're basically the same wrestler. Like Elias and LA Knight.
That's actually true.
Yeah, they're the same wrestler. they get by a character, and it's good characterization. I want to be really clear about this. I like Ezekiel in particular a ton. LA Knight's always good on character work.
You liked Ezekiel, the
Yeah.
clean-faced
Yes.
warrior?
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't stand that character at all.
No. Especially the first week when he worked like the ultra, like the whitest white meat baby
Yeah,
face. Yeah, that first week was hilarious.
I wanted the third brother though from the picture.
Right.
That's what I wanted.
Elron. Yeah,
Elron, yes.
Elron. Yeah, no, I know. Like the faces of Elias, I'm all about, or like the family of Elias. No, I like him. He is a good character. I mean, you know, we say it might be the end of the road, but like this guy, if he's got character ideas, could keep going for a while here. And for AEW's part, he might be relatively cheap to get, you know, to add into their mid card. They have like 25 million hours of television. They're trying to do 12 pay-per-views a year.
You know, he's one of those guys you could repackage as a completely different character, and nobody would ever realize that.
No, and no one realize it. No one would care either. Like no one would be like, be Elias again. You know, like they would be totally fine with it.
Yeah. So heading into the lazy river of wrestling criticism, whatever we watched, whatever we saw, whatever we want to talk about is here. I'll give you some numbers because they were actually pretty good across the board for almost everybody. Raw, of course, down a bit because of Monday Night Football, but the ones that stand out, 850,000 for NXT, headlined by one Becky Lynch, 888,000 for AEW Dynamite. 0.31 in the 18 to 49 rating.
The Wednesday Night Wars are back, baby.
Well, yes, even though one's on Tuesday. Collision was of course down, but not as down as one might think. But you know, college football is back. Chris, where would you like to start on the lazy river?
I'm gonna start with this. Ilya Dragunov has been quietly over. No.
Awesome.
This is. Yeah, he's awesome. He's
awesome.
awesome.
That's where I was
awesome.
Going, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going. I like he is having these like poorly formatted matches in the sense that like they're putting these commercial breaks at the absolute worst times and like just like chewing up like 80% of the match, and then you skip ahead to the final 20%. And Ilya Dragunov's his cells, his extensions, the way all these moves look so vicious. His cells look so good. He is wrestling at such a high level.
Every time he gets hit, it looks like he's in a car wreck.
And every time he hits you, it looks like he's murdering you. That forearm is completely convincing as a finishing move.
He is doing banger after banger, and he's doing them with guys who, I mean, look, Wesley's great. Let's not. But
no, he's getting good dance partners. But
no. But I was gonna go. Who is Carmelo's second? Trick Williams had the match of his career against Ilya Dragunov. You know, Braun Breaker is having the match of his career against Ilya Dragunov. Everybody on that NXT roster should be knocking on Shawn Michaels' door and going, "Give me a match with Ilya, please." I may drive out to Bakersfield to watch Ilya versus Carmelo. I am thinking about it.
He's having a career year. It's really sneaky. Like he is having as strong of an in-ring year stateside as anyone I can think of that I've been watching.
If he wasn't on NXT, he would be getting a lot more consideration for, you know, your year-end nerd ballots and stuff.
Right. No, he's like on like Trash TV, but got like, damn, dude, like he's
the one thing that keeps me watching NXT.
I know. Every time I'm like, oh, it's a Dragunov match. I gotta watch that, and then like I start watching, I'm just like, God, he's doing everything in such a like the promos aren't bad either, but like the in-ring work it's intense. It's great.
I totally concur. I am going to go now.
Okay. Well,
unless you want to talk more about Ilya.
No. Find me on Instagram, Doctor.
No.
You want to do more show?
Yes,
okay.
Okay. It's my turn.
No. I just thought like we had the talk about Dragunov. Okay. Good show, everyone.
That's good. Yeah.
Good show. See you next week.
We're on top instead of snarking.
Everyone always says we're downers, and I'm like, if we just end on Dragunov, what can you say? Who's gonna hate that?
I will find more poly-positive things to talk about
Okay,
in this
okay.
week's wrestling. I'm not going to do it now because I really want to
No.
go after this MJF promo on Dynamite, which I loathe. I understand people like it a lot, but it goes to a bigger issue I have with MJF's push. And the LA Knight discussion is somewhere in here if you want to go there. I think he basically did the Scott Steiner Samoa Joe promo word for word. I'm not sure
Almost, yeah.
about that.
It was like nearly word for word. He memorized large stretches of it for sure.
This is not a good look for your champion to do somebody else's promo, even though it's an internet reference, and it's an internet reference to a company that nobody watched. And we we I mean not but the royal we in the especially in the locked in wrestling commentary community snark on LA Knight as some sort of Rock / Steve Austin clone because of his delivery. But he's doing his own material. He is a character that's original, even if he has some takeoffs and has some delivery homages, shall we say, but he's not doing somebody else's work. And it gets to me to be a problem with AEW in general in terms of the whimsicalness. I called it Wes Anderson wrestling last week a little bit. Before I got into wrestling podcasting territory, some of you know I had a cup of coffee writing television, but I also had a cup of coffee in advertising. Took a trade program out here. Didn't catch on because I was a little too old to get a junior writing position, but I did get to work on one ad campaign as a consolation prize because back then you'd get paired up with art directors, and all the art directors I was paired up with as a copywriter were like 22, and they wanted to do the cool thing, and they didn't want to be saddled with the old guy who was very good, but wouldn't get them anywhere in their career. Okay, great. But one of my teachers there who worked for Saatchi and Saatchi, which is a big advertising agency there, said something that I eventually took to my improv teaching, and I mostly agree with, and I'm going to throw it out to Chris here as well, is that clever can be the enemy of smart. And I think that is my problem right now with MJF in terms of his world title run, and especially in terms of this promo. This promo is an idea that you pitch it in the room, and it sounds very, very clever. And people laugh and go, oh, yeah, I remember that. That was great. And the people who are in the know will know all about that. But is it smart? Is it good? Does it get you to think? Does it get MJF over as a product if this is advertising and promos are products? Because trust me, those advertising people, this is around the time when the Doritos Crash the Super Bowl ad contest came up and they crowdsourced advertising to normals. And those people looked at that and said, all of these ads suck because they're sketch comedy with a bag of Doritos in it, and they do nothing to tell you to make you want to buy Doritos. They are just Doritos with a punchline wrapped around it. Your mileage may vary, but the clever is the enemy of smart really got to me because there's a lot in television right now that is self-referential. There's a lot in various forms of media. We call it member berries sometimes, but it's clever. And it keeps those products from being all they can be because they're not smart. Chris, a rebuttal.
I didn't hate the promo as much as you.
Okay.
Namely because the Scott Steiner math promo I do find like delightful. In particular, the numbers don't lie and they spell disaster for you. It's just this quality.
It's a great line.
That's a great line.
And it's Scott Steiner's.
I know. I'm aware, and so now I'm gonna go and speak on that. I mean, this for me, we've talked a lot about this issue with MJF's title reign and his presentation. And the thing that I was more hung up on was like a teaser graphic for the main event with Samoa Joe on one side and Roddy Strong in a neck brace and dorky glasses on the other side. And like this is our Roderick Strong that we get on this show. And my issue is not, of course there's room for a dorky Roddy Strong and a neck brace and glasses. He shouldn't be in the main event picture. The main event picture is so weird and like
Roddy looked like Man Scout in that picture.
yeah, he looked very silly. I don't really know like what is MJF? Like is he a baby face? Like he's just like a guy. I don't know how to feel about him, and so I don't actually feel much of anything about him right now.
Like I wouldn't want a guy coming out there and trying to do a Dusty Rhodes Hard Times promo.
Sure, sure.
That's basically my thing. I get yours as well, and I agree with it. I don't I thought for certain on that like the Joe Roddy match was spectacular. I really liked that match a lot. It was hard hitting. It was especially by Joe a lot. The post match thing, eh,
Roddy, I know it's just like, is this making Cole look better? Is this making him?
I'm like, I know people laugh at that. Okay, I laugh at it too. Do I want it carrying my company necessarily? That's where I'm going with that. I think. I mean, and everybody will go,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you're old."
It's just this is not a main event program. This
That's
is
what
a
I
mid
think
card
too.
program and a mid card storyline that is the main event arc of the show. Of three shows, really, at this point.
Yes.
Like this is the heart of what AEW is right now. Goofy Roddy Strong faking a neck injury, Adam Cole as the girlfriend stuck in between, and the girlfriend, the decent girlfriend stuck in between two lousy guys. You have MJF as one sort of lousy guy, and then Roddy Strong is another sort of lousy guy.
Yeah. And Adam Cole is the girl in question.
Yeah, yeah, I'm Cole's the girl caught in the middle. Yeah, yeah, and that's their main event angle, Jeff. Like that's it. Like that is it. Nick Bockwinkel, this is not.
We've turned Adam Cole into she's all that.
It, you remember when Chief Jay Strongbow was caught in between Ric Flair and Nick Bockwinkel in an old AWA angle for the title?
I just I can't decide.
I don't know. Who's my real friend?
Wahoo, and well, they've had that kind of, but it was before a major heel turn, and one was a baby face, and one was a legitimate baby face, and one was a legitimate heel, because you had Wahoo McDaniel getting courted by Tully Blanchard to be in the Awesome Twosome. And at the same time, he didn't like Tully, but Tully was willing to give him a title shot one time. Ric Flair wouldn't. And Flair's like, oh, come on, you're not like this. But I mean, he never had any he was never like, huh, any moral quandary
Yeah.
about it or anything like that.
Do I care about titles or friendship more?
Yes, Wahoo McDaniel being contemplative. No, Wahoo was drunk at a Bennigan's or something.
I this is just we said it before, I'll say it again. This is not a main event angle, and this is really emblematic of like AEW's, in my opinion, booking problems. That like this week, the advancement of the plot was referencing nearly like 17-year-old, almost 20-year-old promo from Scott Steiner. Don't get me wrong. I love when Bret Hart says, "Who are you to question El Dandy?"
Mm-hmm.
I will reference it. No one gets the reference. It's
There's
just
a difference
that,
between a reference and a trope.
Mm-hmm.
Like the birthday cake celebration that goes awry for the heels. That's a wrestling trope. It's not necessarily a it's not the same thing to me.
Well, and also, this is such a good joke. Why hasn't it been made any time in the intervening years with any of Samoa Joe's opponents? I mean, it probably has been made once, but like, if this is such a good piece of writing and business, why hasn't it been done before?
Right, exactly. Your turn, sir.
Um, boy. So we talked Dragon off. I kind of like what they're doing with Jey Uso on Raw. Like the that he's got to like find his way kind of back into the mix of things.
I like that they haven't embraced him as a complete and total babyface.
Yeah,
Some
I
of the
do too.
characters, I do. I think
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
smart move. He has to kind of learn to get trust. My only one concern is the moment he loses a big match, main event Jey Uso is no longer main eventy. That's the weird thing about putting that title on him right now. Is if he has a title match with anybody and he loses, he's no longer main event.
He's got to win a title. I do think that like it needs to be like a mid card title, but like maybe he beats Gunther.
Oh man, I had not thought of that on my scorecard. It's not the worst idea in the world, but man, Gable,
I
Gable's
love
there,
no,
man.
I know, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like him beating Gunther in a main event would actually do quite a lot to solidify Jey Uso in this upper mid card position. There's a case for it, but
Yeah,
I'm also with you. I want to see, especially after this week's SmackDown or whatever. I want to see Gable beat Gunther. That okay. I'll do one more too.
go ahead.
Championship celebration with Gunther, and Imperium, and Gable coming out. I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was actually that. It wasn't ironic or cheeky or self-referential, or it was just like
it was an
good.
actual celebration. Of course,
Yeah.
it gets interrupted, and it's a very famous WWE trope, so they do
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, Gunther deserves it. He beat the honky tonk man's record. He needs the honkometer. That's what I want. I want Gunther to say honkometer just once.
I want uh there's Kaiser, Wolfgang Kaiser or whatever. I want him to do the honky tonk man dance at least
And
once.
I just hope they don't turn on Giovanni Vinci. I like that guy so much, and he adds so much to the act. But he is the red shirt of the crew at all times, and that always goes well. We're done beating him. I mean, you can bring up Ilya and put him in there easily, and eventually turn him. But yeah, I do like me some Giovanni Vinci. Uh, I'm gonna give flowers to Becky Lynch because she's great. Um, that match with Tiffany Stratton was better than it had any reason to be, especially given that they didn't have a lot of time to rehearse as they usually do in NXT. Don't get me wrong, there are issues sometimes because Becky has that John Cena problem where she's yelling spots and you can hear it on the mic sometimes. But man, both her and I mean Tiffany Stratton for her level of experience, she's a great champ. I think they put the title on her to try and sell out Bakersfield, which is the big NXT event next week. But I really enjoyed that Becky Lynch Tiffany Stratton match quite a bit, and I think look, I know it kind of bothered Becky Lynch a little bit, just from talking to different people that she never got a shot with the NXT title. And it's always nice. Hey, I can now go back there and say I was an NXT champion. You're helping the kids somewhat, I guess. It's just kind of there are things that I like about it, and there are things I don't like about it when you bring the main event people back there. Because it's kind of like it's almost like a bullying move. Like, hey, I'm bringing the biggest women's star in history, possibly, who main evented of WrestleMania to come and beat the Performance Center champion. That was a good match. It was fun.
Yeah. Weird to tap the brakes on Tiffany Stratton so quickly. I think this
Yeah.
is actually just kind of part of their way of doing title changes now. I've seen sort of a booking or like a bit of a pattern here where it's like they don't want to like have someone lose bad. So what they do is they bring in someone from the upper promotion to come
Yes.
down and beat them. But the problem with that is that it then reminds you that everything in NXT is Bush League.
Yes.
This has been the real dual-edged sword. Yeah, you get some good matches out of it, sure. I mean, who among us doesn't love Dolph Ziggler as NXT champion? But
Oh man, I forgot about that.
I mean, my favorite NXT champion.
Well, and then you combine that with Baron Corbin losing to other guys on the
Right.
roster, and it's kind of weird.
It's kind of a weird way of vision for how to book this thing. But also then when Baron's down there and talking about all his big accolades, so like Braun Breaker or Von Wagner or whatever too, it's like I don't know. I think it makes the whole universe seem a little more small potatoes than big potatoes
Okay.
to me. Yeah. You bring down Butch again. Who does that help?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have no idea who that helps.
Hey, remember when I wasn't Butch and I was having bangers with Tyler Bate?
Yeah, yeah. Who's now like a yoga master.
Yes.
But like, I think Stratton they should have done more with her. Um,
I think she might just win this back in Bakersfield
she might very well.
on No Mercy. I mean, it's a big premium live event. It gives them a chance to elevate her if she does that. I mean,
She wins the title from Becky Lynch.
yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's an interesting move. It's just like I just don't know. I don't know that this helps. Like it doesn't make NXT closer to black and gold, like the good stuff.
No, and
No.
but it's also just I'm watching Roxanne Perez, who I think is the one. I think she is great. I think she's the pure baby face that WWE looks at and they go, I have no idea what to do with that, even though it's millions and millions of dollars. See Bailey. Um and she's talented and she's down there doing mean girl Bechdel test crap. And I'm just like, no. They don't know what to do with her because they don't want to bring her up to the main roster, but they don't want to put the title on her either. And you're just like, okay, great. We're going to let her sit there and get cold like we did other people like this, like Tyler Bate. You know, she's too young to bring up, but she's, you know, too pure to. If they ever turn her heel, my God, what are we doing? Your turn.
Chelsea Green
Huh.
remains like very entertaining in her role. She's
Yes.
just she's just another person who she's got a role and she crushes it. She does a really good job. She got her stuff down right now.
She crushes it. She is willing to take a beating, which I respect the hell out of. She's willing to do anything. And it's so funny that WWE loves to cut her. I don't know why.
I gotta tell you, this year has been a very strong year. Like Dragunov and Chelsea Green might be my two most improved or something.
But she's always must watch when she gets into these poorly written, or poorly conceived skits at times. But I mean, they're dumb, but she knocks it out of the park in them.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was really. It's a dumb skit with her and Shayna and Piper. She's very good in it, though.
Speaking of dumb skits, NXT High School is back, and I could not be more excited. Yes, because Thea Hale is far too young to drink. We can't have her go out to a bar, even though she's being a bad girl with JC Jade. So we go right to the NXT kitchenette, which is dressed up like a club.
We got to stop here, though, real quickly, because what happens in this scene, the violence in this scene really only makes sense if there has been drinking involved. And it doesn't excuse it. But like there's a difference between getting into a drunken fight and having a psychological level rage problem where you can fly into a blind rage and commit assault and kick someone in the nuts just like out of nowhere. Like it's one thing it's not good. Again, not good at 1:30 a.m. after you've been doing shots of Jack all night. But like that's one context. It's crazy if it's 9:30 a.m. and you're at the grocery store and you're kicking someone in the nuts.
Well, who among us?
Sometimes I just need to get to the ribs, and they need to get out of my
well,
way.
well, we'll go even one step further. It's it's one thing if you're at the bar and it's 1:30 at night. It's another if it's 7:30 and the blue plate special crowd is at Applebee's with their watered down, you know, Hawaiian punch shooters or whatever they're doing out there.
It's one thing to get into a fight in the
All you
parking
can
lot of the
eat
bar.
ribs should not be worthy of a nut shot.
Getting into a fight at the Golden Corral is a totally different context.
Look, you were spending way too long at that chocolate fountain, and I got a problem with that.
I love sticking my fingers in that.
Kick you in the nuts. Boom. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I get that it's like a world of wrestling and stuff, but like I was like watching this, and like this is a very cringe segment. This is a very awkward and like weird segment.
But all of them are that. See, that's what they need to make canon in NXT is any scene shot in the kitchenette area. Because I remember the Murphy and Blake and Alexa Bliss promos that were supposedly taped there when they were all just kind of hanging out when it was still NXT high school back then. Hey guys, that kind of thing. Yeah, those were awkward as hell too. And like that'd be like people were like Indy Hartwell would meet people and stuff. It's just yes, everything in the kitchenette needs to be awkward. That should be the rule.
Yeah, no, I also want all male and female dating interactions on this show to be done in the strange. Like, I want all the men to come off.
They are.
No, I know. They're doing a great job. The men aren't coming off as creepy. They're coming off as weird NPC, like robot characters. And I love it. I'm so here for
They're coming up as all men were raised in their basement and had never met a woman before. They were all homeschooled. And then they end up going off to this camp called NXT. Oh, look, a girl.
Hey, JC, I see that you're hanging out here in the kitchenette area. You know, I was reading a magazine earlier. Do you like to read? We should go and get some food sometime. Good to see you too.
Do you like to read? And then we're gonna do something that has absolutely nothing to do with reading. We're gonna go out to eat.
And then like JC Jade like throws like water in your face for this.
Yes, and Thea Hale kicks you in the nuts. That's
no, I mean it's great. Like the men are like weird but not creepy, and the women are like absolutely like psychotic.
And that one guy, it's like he read a Cosmo article that's like, you know what you should do is like comically insult one of the women in the party, and that'll make her like you more. It's like, what are you here with a little girl or something?
Yeah, what do you right? Is
that your daughter, JC?
She's acting really strange, but she can't even drink.
You got anything else? I got one more if you don't.
I'm trying to think like Judgment Day on Raw continues to be real strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even JD McDonough's parts of being the wannabe.
Yeah. No, like the transition of making Judgment Day like the sort of main focal point actor or whatever, and even sort of the whole like we're bigger than the bloodline stuff. I like it. I can't believe like it's kind of like the bloodline thing. I'm still kind of in awe that they've got me to completely come around to the Judgment Day stuff. And it's not just like, oh, Dominic Mysterio has nuclear heat. Like Rhea Ripley.
These are four people with interchangeable relationships with one another, and a fifth person who everybody has a different feeling about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually complex for WWE, which makes it scary.
I know. They've done writing that actually kind of like works on layers and stuff this year, and like it keeps things interesting. It does, in a way that, and they have like multi-month arcs, and that does keep things interesting. Yeah. I don't feel like things are just changing or turning one way or the other. Did we already talk about Blackpool Combat? Did we talk about Blackpool Combat Club being baby faces on the air? Or did we talk about that off the air?
We talked about that off the air, but if you'd like to do that now,
I mean, yeah, like this kind of gets to. I mean, it's like this is a tangential thing. I don't have a big rant on this. It's just like emblematic of the AEW mode of we're just turning people. We're turning Starks, we're turning the Blackpool Combat Club. We just turn. And it's not fun. It's
And
fun in the sense.
Moxley is still a heel because he's going up against Ray Phoenix as well in
Right.
some ways.
Right. And so that felt like almost a situational 1 week change because they're in Ohio. And like they wanted to just have Mox be really over, but I think that's also silly too. Like, don't turn them for 1 week just cause. Like,
And it's not the shades of gray thing that people think it is. It's really
no.
Bryan Danielson was brought out as a super babyface, the American Dragon, to face Ricky Starks. So the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club went to save him from a beating from a heel, and then became baby faces. But then once they got backstage again, they're kind of heelish in a little bit of a way, and they're kind of, it's a little bit mixed messaging. I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
By the way, on that point, Big Bill, much improved.
Yeah.
God, I love watching him work now.
Yeah,
I
he's
just
good
like
now.
watching big guys who like do big guy things occasionally.
No, he absolutely works as this, big man character. Yeah, no notes. Yeah.
I have one last thing on this
Sure.
lazy river that's near and dear to your heart, probably. And this comes from Collision from last week. But it's a general note about wrestling and especially American wrestling, us ugly Americans type of thing as we watch it and stuff like that. Is that companies now, since 1995, 96, we need to do something about treatment of masked wrestlers. Because as much as we like luchadors in that first hour of Nitro, as much as we like the random luchador match on AEW Dynamite, as much as we like the Lucha House Party occasionally on WWE, most American fans right now have been conditioned. They're geeks. They're always geeks. Unless you're Rey Mysterio, you are a geek.
Masked guys are jobbers. They're
Axiom's a jobber. That's
masked
all
guys
people.
are jobbers.
He's not
No,
a
it is
kid
very much. We've gone back to the 80s. We've gone back to like the masked jobber of the 80s.
Well, the masked jobbers were at least interesting sometimes. I mean, you could do things with masks, like you'd have the James brothers or the James boys, or you'd have the Midnight Rider. And even in the early 80s, you had, the Mr. Wrestling 2s, you had the Assassins. I mean, you could push guys in masks. But now, I mean, and of course you did have masked jobbers because you had guys getting double pay so that they, get paid, everybody. You had Gene Ligon wrestling a squash match, getting beat by, somebody, and then he'd be like Thunderfoot #1. And then, and then he's a jobber again. But yes, it is now, and it doesn't matter that they get like a showcase like Commander or whatever. We need to have a masked guy win something.
It would help if they could talk.
It would, yes, it would also.
And you can move a story through them. No, yes, I mean straight up. Like they'll be like, "No, Ray never had to do that." You're right, and that was actually a problem for Ray for many years.
Yes, and look, I loved that team of Psychosis and La Parka. I thought that was a fantastic tag team. Makeshift team. I'd watch them all day if I could. But yes, it's one of those things where it's like, and especially foreigners under a mask have it bad because right now it's no offense to Alex Abrahantes. He's not even as good as Sonny Ono.
Oh, I was about to say he's not Sonny Ono. Sonny Ono was better at it. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, he'll have the occasional moment on those promos, and it looks like, Penta is at least trying to do ones in English. But we need a guy in a mask who is a badass who wins a title eventually in order to rectify making masks awesome and mysterious again. I mean, back in the day, it was the old brawlers going, I have to wear this mask because otherwise promoters won't book me because I might hurt somebody. Mm-hmm. We need somebody in a mask who hurts somebody. That's what we need right now, because otherwise mask guy equals geek. And I don't know if you got to see the Collision match or now where the ex-Drago is now under a new name along with Gravity walking slowly.
Oh, Aerostar.
and
Oh,
Aerostar.
Oh,
And
and
Aerostar.
Aerostar.
That was the six-man team.
Oh God.
Drago, Aerostar, and Gravity walking like an astronaut down to the ring.
Well, I mean, it makes sense
Geek
that
Fest.
Yeah, oh God, it makes sense that Gravity and Aerostar would be like together. Aerostar, I'm amazed he's not in traction at this point.
Yes.
Like truly amazed this man's not in traction. I don't know how.
I mean, Lucha Underground made Guys in Masks interesting. It just wasn't a big hit.
Yeah, I know. Well, and they also knew how to present them. Yeah, right. And obviously we have most of the promotion in mass, but like, yeah, I completely concur with you. Mass wrestlers, no one takes him seriously. And
That's how we bring back Wardlow. We bring him back in a mask, and nobody will know who he is.
I mean, I don't
hate that actually.
I don't hate that idea. I'm right.
I mean, Vader
not,
was
I'm not having
Vader
a
was technically in a mask. So,
yeah, right. Like I'm not. Yeah, like you put Leon White in a mask, and he's my favorite wrestler. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Baby Bull. Yeah,
Baby
yeah.
Bull Leon White.
Yeah, Baby Bull Leon White. Yeah, no. Then you put him in a mask. I'm like, oh, this guy can kill people. I love him.
Yes, that's actually very. And his mask blows smoke. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Let's end it there. You can follow me on Twitter at crapgame13. Oh, I'm sorry, x.com. X gonna give it to you at crapgame13. You can just follow the show at Shake Them Ropes. You can follow Chris on Instagram at DOCTOR_Nove. That's Dr. Nove. Calling Dr. Nove.
Call me Dr. Nove.
We are part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Podcast for all your wrestling fetishes. 5-star match game. Good, bad, hungry. Our newest show, the Mike and JD show. They came over from Fight Game Media, where I am also at. I do the Dynamite show, $5 a month. More podcasts over there. If you don't get enough podcasts about stateside wrestling and even New Japan, you can go over there. I do the Dynamite show about 20 minutes after that. You can watch live on YouTube if you don't want to pay, if you're cheap, but I prefer you pay so I get paid for something I do around here. Chris also has interest. He teaches guitar and we'll do magic tricks for you if you pay enough. What do you do, Chris?
Oh God. So there's this really nifty one where I take your money and then I disappear.
Oh.
Yeah. But if you want guitar lessons, you can hit me up. I am still doing those. My band just did like our first little like sleeper show, so I'm gonna try to get us booked around town here.
When is Tram Fest?
Tram Fest. For those of you coming out to the Albuquerque area for Balloon Fest Fiesta, Tram Fest begins on Sunday, October 8th, and goes through Saturday, the 15th. Actually, I'm sorry, Saturday the 7th to the 15th. The 7th through the 15th is Tram Fest. Come out and see my band play. October, basically like all through that first week of October, I'll be playing.
Going 24/7. Even when the trams are closed, you will be playing on that stage.
Not quite, but I gotta be honest. Like the schedule that has been initially pitched to me, I'm like, this is actually going to be the most continuous playing, like in terms of like days in a row of gigging that I've done ever.
You gotta go for the world record.
I mean, honestly, I might just start one song and see how long I can play it. Like we'll do "Can't You See" by the Marshall Tucker Band and just beat that thing into the ground.
In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
Yeah, like
drum solos.
Gonna climb a mountain because you see we're at the tram. Yeah.
Oh,
hi. Yeah.
I like Marshall Tucker though. That's
He's all right. I like his band.
I'll talk to you later.